One thing became clear from the moment Friday running began. McLaren arrived in Abu Dhabi with a plan already signposted from the outset. Team orders if the situation demanded it, but the facts emerging from FP2 make the logic behind that stance worth questioning. Norris set the reference in single-lap pace and naturally became the focus of attention. Yet the full picture from Friday was nowhere near as straightforward. Piastri, having only taken part in one session, immediately struggled to extract grip on his first push lap on the softs and locked up, leaving his headline time irrelevant. But over the long run on the medium compound, the indicators of actual race performance told a very different story. Piastri sat extremely close to Verstappen's average pace and consistently within a few hundredths of Antonelli, a position far more meaningful for long-distance competition. In several segments, even Norris's tire behavior looked more sensitive than Piastri's. With that in mind, it's reasonable to ask whether McLaren's evaluation of Piastri has been based on a single failed lap, rather than the complete dataset that shows he has the underlying pace to be a crucial factor in the title fight. Looking purely at the numbers relevant to race day, McLaren should arguably pause or even cancel any pre-planned team order scenario until the performance gap is genuinely conclusive. So, what is actually driving this decision? Data or preference? If you want to follow the deeper strategic breakdown behind this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the full analysis. As the final round of the World Championship edges closer, the list of competing narratives around McLaren has grown at a speed that almost rivals the on-track tension. They enter Abu Dhabi with one driver leading the championship, another still mathematically alive, and a rival in Max Verstappen lurking close enough to punish any hesitation. In that sense, a team preparing potential instructions is unsurprising, but the circumstances surrounding the team's internal balance, public messaging, and performance profile add layers that go far beyond a standard title decider script. Norris's position in the standings brings clarity. He leads Verstappen by 12 points and can secure the title with a podium. Piastri sits 16 points behind, meaning he needs both a strong result and significant misfortune for the two ahead. But this mechanical reading of the championship table doesn't account for the flow of the season, nor the way opportunities have swung at crucial moments. Qatar, in particular, remains an inflection point. McLaren's call not to pit either car during the early safety car cost Piastri a likely victory, one that would have left him within single digits of the lead. That strategic choice is central to why the championship gap looks the way it does now. The effect of that moment reached far beyond the paddock. In Australia, the backlash was loud enough to reach Parliament, where the issue of potential bias towards Norris was raised partly serious, partly political theater, but still a sign of how sharply sentiment has turned. Piastri was measured about the attention, saying, "I did see it reach Parliament. That's quite impressive. The fact that my name is in Parliament in Australia is pretty cool in some ways." His reaction was calm, but the symbolism was unmissable. Public scrutiny over McLaren's internal decisions has become global. That scrutiny intensified further when an Australian media outlet claimed Piastri had been banned from speaking to his national press, while Norris continued to meet British journalists. The story was incorrect, but its spread showed how sensitive the discourse has become. McLaren canceled all optional media sessions for both drivers. Yet this neutral action was interpreted as selectively protective. It spoke to a wider environment in which every action, however small, is read through the lens of potential preference. Against this backdrop, Friday's running took on a different weight. Norris looked sharp from the beginning, and his fastest lap on the softs in FP2 underlined his confidence. But the long-run averages, the sort that matter for Sunday, painted a more complex picture. Verstappen's sustained pace was within a tenth of Norris before the Red Bull driver reported something felt broken in the final laps. Piastri, meanwhile, was only marginally behind Verstappen despite completing fewer laps. Mark Hughes's breakdown of the data added meaningful context. Front graining was an early concern for McLaren, especially for Norris, and typically Abu Dhabi's evolving grip profile can amplify that pattern before it improves. Piastri referenced this process himself. "I got there pretty well on the medium," he said. "Just on the soft, I didn't get the most out of the grip on that first-timed lap." Piastri remained calm when asked in the press conference whether he would give up a podium position to support his teammates' championship hopes. He simply said that it had not been discussed and that he would wait to understand the team's expectations. His response suggests he intends to compete normally while staying aligned with the team. Norris approached the topic by emphasizing fairness. He noted that any such decision would be up to Oscar and added that he would personally be willing to help if the situation required it, though he would not request it himself. His comments acknowledged the competitive imbalance that naturally comes with a title fight, while still presenting a cooperative stance. The on-track data adds further complexity. If Piastri's long-run pace is close to Verstappen's, allowing both McLaren drivers to run their own races could provide a strategic advantage. Managing two competitive cars is more challenging for Red Bull than managing just one. Additionally, if Norris experiences higher tire wear, as suggested by early signs of front tire graining, predetermined team orders might not be the most effective approach during a race where tire management often shapes the final outcome. This leads to the broader issue of how equal opportunity is applied in practice. McLaren have stated throughout the season that both drivers receive equal treatment, and their decisions in previous races have been explained on operational grounds. Still, equal opportunity involves not only procedures, but also interpretation of data and the ability to adjust when new information becomes available. Friday's running does not provide definitive answers, but it does support taking a measured approach rather than relying on early assumptions. Piastri has handled recent discussions professionally and without visible frustration, while Norris enters the weekend with the additional weight of a championship fight. These factors do not dictate strategy, but they do highlight the value of keeping options open. Meanwhile, Verstappen remains a significant external factor, having reduced a large points gap to a narrow margin. His recent run of strong results shows that he excels when other teams hesitate. Red Bull's performance on Friday was better than expected, and Verstappen believes the remaining gap is manageable. If McLaren commit too early to a fixed driver hierarchy, they may reduce their tactical flexibility against a strong competitor. FP2 data indicates that Piastri could play a more influential role than his position suggests. If McLaren aim to maximize both the race result and their championship chances, limiting that potential too early may not be the most effective strategy. As qualifying approaches, the team must balance information, expectations, and real-time conditions in what could be a defining weekend. The key question is this: if the numbers continue to show that both drivers are closely matched, will McLaren allow them to race freely, or will the team establish a fixed approach before the race begins? Norris experiences higher tire wear, as suggested by early signs of front tire graining. Predetermined team orders might not be the most effective approach during a race where tire management often shapes the final outcome. This leads to the broader issue of how equal opportunity is applied in practice. McLaren have stated throughout the season that both drivers receive equal treatment, and their decisions in previous races have been explained on operational grounds. Still, equal opportunity involves not only procedures, but also interpretation of data and the ability to adjust